guys. How are you?
Hi. Fine, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Oh.
Yeah, I did press it. Okay. This isn't. Oh, that's no. I seen one down there.
So if you're in charge, I'll meet you. No, we'll check that out.
It is an outside. It was an outside flag.
They just gave us one of each, so.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what they told us. One was inside, one was outside. I don't remember the size. I don't know.
Okay. I heard the bells.
And it's not Christmas.
I almost said I was telling Christmas Eve. I'm like, that's too early. I can't say that. All right, welcome. Call meeting to order today on September the 17th, 2024. Thanks for being here in the audience. Appreciate you being here. We're going to start with some introductions, starting with my right today.
Oh, we're swapping it up.
Ginger McMullen, Clerk Auditor.
Vaughn Christensen, Attorney.
Tammy Pearson, Commissioner.
Wade Hollington, Commissioner.
Brandon Yardley, Commissioner.
Presley Jensen, Commission Secretary.
Thanks for being here. Thanks to the audience being here as well today. We were going to start with an opening prayer offered by Mark DuPont, and then Ginger will give us the Pledge of Allegiance. Mark.
Father, as we come before you today, we thank you for so many blessings. Thank you, Lord, again for simply your sustaining of us as we, again, live through these days. Thank you for your blessings of rain in the past. Thank you, Lord, for the sunshine today. Lord, we thank you that we can come together and, again, have our government as we do. Thank you, Lord, for the blessings upon this nation. Thank you, Lord, for its founding principles and such as that. And Lord, as we come today, again, this is an extension of that very thing. So, Father, we do pray for our nation. We pray, Lord, that you would help again as right now there is so much strife. We pray, Lord, that people would see, again, ultimately you and would turn their hearts back to you. But, Lord, as we look at this meeting today, I pray for these commissioners. Lord, I thank you for them. Thank you for all these sitting here today. And, Lord, I pray that you would help them again, to understand their responsibilities before you. Lord, in your word, you call them your ministers. And so, Father, thank you for that blessing. And Lord, I pray that you would help them today to take their hearts again to your righteousness today. Father, guide them as they have their various decisions to make, the different discussions. Lord, please just help them to be able to consider these things as before you. And Father, we look for your blessing on this time now. We pray in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. You all please stand. Follow me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ginger. Okay. Next item on the agenda is approved bills. I think they'll hand it out. Only 2 packets today, so we're slimming down.
Got everything.
There's plenty on these 2 packets.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is just a simple question, but, so the WAMA fire supplies, the fire warden, is that part of our portion.
Part of the participation agreement for storage, and he doesn't usually.
No, there's not a lot, and most of it's equipment.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah. I mean, honestly, he's only probably used maybe $2,000 this
So when you say
year.
5 wards, is that too much?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's the contract we have
With
Yeah.
the
with
state?
the state. Isn't it like 20 something?
no, it's more than that.
Is it more than that?
Yeah, I actually have, I think 95,000 budgeted, but I was telling Trace yesterday, I'm like, we haven't seen warden wages, they haven't invoiced us for that, so and I don't,
Wonder if
maybe
that's
I'm a little
coming.
bit too early, maybe it comes in
Hey, Kristen,
October.
come back up a second.
I can't remember, I think I can look and see, but I just felt like it's about time for the warden invoice should start to come through.
And he'll come in and visit us.
Well, he actually texted us this morning, but I didn't read it.
Okay, all right.
Do you, I'm just curious on fuel, do you track that and say, I mean, has it, obviously it's changed over the last
It's
little
changed
bit,
because
right? Is there a way to see what that's changed to?
do you want like,
Well, the increase.
like
Increase,
gallons? Like, you want like
No,
dollar
just-
amount?
just
I mean,
dollar
it's definitely more money. It's not
Oh,
as
yeah.
much as what it has been in the past, I'll say that.
Really?
Uh-huh.
The price has gone down a little bit.
Yeah, but the usage, I'm saying the usage is
That's been
less.
increased?
The usage is less overall.
I'm just curious, you know, for budget time, is that, I mean, can people see
Mm-hmm.
what's
Yeah.
changed?
So when I send their
year
detail
to year?
ledger out, the fuel comes through as fuel man, and they'll be able to tell, like, every single month how much their
How
fuel
much.
runs, and so they can gauge it based on what their average fuel amount is.
Department heads can see that, do that.
Especially those that use theirs for work.
Yeah.
Like, that one's gonna be easy. It's the
Right.
one-offs that people are traveling for conferences and
Right.
training and
Right.
things like that might be a little bit different.
Okay.
There's one on here for personnel systems and services consulting fee.
So that's Mike Swallow, so that's your payment plan,
Okay.
your
Got it.
Payment plan.
Payment plan.
yeah.
Pay plan.
Pay plan.
Employee pay plan.
Like, I'm
That is
talking like
too, yeah.
HR,
That is.
Pay plan.
Yeah.
that's Mike Swallow's company, is that,
Okay.
so that's his consulting fee for the whole year, to help Heidi with all those job descriptions.
And it was the transition on the, what is it called, that is the computer?
The Paylocity, no, it's not Paylocity, it's the pay plan that they're developing with your step and grade and
Okay,
all those types of things, redoing the job description so that they're current and not
right.
20 years old, some of them.
Yeah, time goes away in a hurry, gotta keep up.
I know.
I thought we were only paying $500 for the bathrooms at the fair.
No.
For the cleaning,
Yeah,
she kept track of her hours and then she did the outside bathrooms that were rented from Lehigh. The building that was, the trailer that was outside.
we had to hire her separately?
Apparently, because they never came to clean them, so she cleaned those twice or 3 times, I think.
Is that the Johnson one?
Yeah.
K&A.
So I told her to put those on the list too.
So the satellite phones, are those monthly?
Annual, that's an annual, and we split it between
Correct.
EMPG, so emergency management and dispatch, so.
Okay.
checking.
I just, Indian Creek animal exam.
That one was for an animal that was taken in by Clint. I don't know the whole,
So this had to do with the animal shelter?
yeah.
Okay.
That happens sometimes. It could be, like, it could be something got it, and they had to take it in, they'll do restitution on that. If the animal that attacked, because we had that before, somebody's dog on
So
somebody's
this is a
sheep.
dog bite and have it.
Yeah.
We're gonna go check the sheep out, so.
They take the sheep out to see what the damages are, so that they can do a restitution with the dog owner,
Right.
and then they charge them through the courts, is what happens. So
Okay.
we have to pay for it upfront because of the urgency,
And then we probably get reimbursed.
and then we get reimbursed by the courts,
Okay.
right? As the person pays restitution,
Okay.
Slowly, over time.
slowly, yeah.
I mean, yeah, probably years.
It doesn't happen a lot. It's,
Well, yeah, I've never really seen it before, I don't think.
we had it happen last year, somebody's dog got into somebody's show sheep,
Yeah.
right before they were getting ready to do livestock show.
Yeah, there was
Okay.
some,
Yeah, it was kind of terrible.
Possible time.
Bad deal.
It was a bad
For
deal.
everybody.
yeah.
Yeah. The kids that were showing it, it was devastating for them,
Oh, yeah.
it was all,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was,
That would be devastating.
yeah, it was terrible.
No doubt.
Personnel systems, or, yeah, systems and services, that's the question you asked.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my flawless company.
It's a pretty big one, so.
You're waiting for me.
Yeah, front and back.
Yeah,
Well,
I thought it was long in front and back,
That's
so.
what took me forever, and I still missed part of them. I couldn't. Good job.
Yeah. Job.
So, yeah.
I'd like to help you, sir. Need some sort of like little music for the.
No, like Jeopardy.
Yeah, Jeopardy, that's what it is, counting down, Ethan.
You can just tell it's a joke. You probably don't know any clean ones.
Yeah. Is that resolution?
What's American Land Council? Okay, yeah,
There it is,
we're
huh?
talking about it today.
He was UAC. That's not.
No, this is different.
Is it?
Yeah, this is the one that I was talking about, that the UAC board voted on.
Oh.
I think that's the one he handed out at UAC.
Yeah, he was there.
He was there. handing
Yeah, but
that
yes,
out.
but then there's two separate ones.
Two separate buildings,
Yeah.
All right. If any other questions or not, otherwise I'll entertain a motion on the bills.
I'll make that motion to approve the bills.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Made unanimous once again. Thanks, Ginger. Appreciate that. Next on the item, on the agenda is consider resolution 2024-07. A resolution supporting Utah versus United States legal action.
Did you get a chance to read through that?
No,
In the
I
packet?
didn't. Tell me what's over.
Are two pages of the same thing?
Yeah, because this is his own thing, this is a separate deal.
Oh.
It's not like our official resolution.
Right,
Like a
this is
sample.
just a political statement.
Yeah, that's
You wanna
a political statement.
Explain it.
So where did this come from?
So this is the American Land Council that we're
okay.
members of, right? And so just for explanation, the state of Utah has filed a suit, against the federal government to ask the question, is it legal constitutionally for the federal government to retain ownership of the unappropriated land? So in the state of Utah, there's 18.5 million acres of land that do not have any kind of a designation. So they're not a national park, they're not a monument, they're not a recreation area, they're not a wilderness study area or a wilderness area. I'm not sure there's some other designations, but it's just basic BLM ground, which in Beaver County specifically is close to 67% of our county is this regular BLM ground, right? And so, in the actual definition of public lands on a constitutional definition is public lands means lands for disposal. So most of the other states and statehood got everything within their borders.
And particularly east of the Mississippi.
Yes, yes. Even east of Utah. I mean, you look at Colorado or anything else, I mean, they don't have a ton of public land. Kansas, Nebraska, Texas, I mean, like everything's private, everywhere else, but they were very, and granted, you know, a lot of the private property has, you know, water on it, fertile, soil that can be used for agriculture and different things. So they did not do that to Utah, which put us at a disadvantage. And like Commissioner Jerry Taylor says, I don't want to be treated differently. I just want to be treated equally, right? And so why isn't Utah been able to do that? So that's what the lawsuit is about. We met as a public lands group in part of the Utah Association of Counties, UAC. We met last week during the conference. The Public Lands Committee voted unanimously to support an amicus brief in support of the state's lawsuit. That's what that bill is for UAC to, or
Yeah, the resolution, I think I had that.
well, yeah, but that bill in itself
Can we see that bill?
yeah. I think I forwarded it to you guys, because when she sent it, she only sent it, like, the UAC office. And
Yes, it is.
It was a couple of years ago, Ivory, Representative Ivory, actually came to the commission and gave us a
Yeah,
presentation.
presented the,
And he's still part of this.
yeah. So when you look at, Beaver County, and I'll kind of pass that, I should have made a bunch of copies, but this is the breakdown of Beaver County.
Can we just scan it and project it?
Oh, yeah. I don't know how to do that, but you can find it.
Yeah, I just thought maybe it might.
Send her that one too.
Oh, that would help in the discussion for the,
Right.
see what we're talking about.
When you look at, Beaver County, every property has its own valuation, right? So, you know, we have Greenbelt, which is ag, private property, you've got, you know, mansions and
And your residential.
residential, and you've got all these different, so there's all these different valuations, and in Beaver County specifically, there's only 13% of our county that is private property that can be taxed, right? And so, the BLM ground, they pay what they call PILT, which is payment in lieu of taxes.
Right.
And it's supposed to be comparable to what a regular tax is, but it's not even remotely close.
Right, it's-
So we call it a pittance in lieu of trillions, or pennies in lieu of
Ain't no
trillions.
dollar, right?
You know, but it's the PILT thing. Our county, we get 1.3 approximately. We're only getting paid $1, what does it say right there at the top, $1.18 an acre?
$8.
$1.08 an acre. Some counties, and that's also, it's a formula, it's also based on the population, so there's some counties who have a smaller, like Daggett County, they have 900 people. They make 37 or 38 cents an acre on their PILT payment. And they're not as big a landmass as what we are, but just like Paiute County's tiny little county, what are they, 1,500 people or something like that, if that, and they're the same way. So, but then you go to Washington County, right? Big giant population, they make $3 and something, you know, so they're 3 times what we make, which is still nothing compared, yeah, that's very undervalued. So the whole reason why I went to Washington DC last week, and there was only 5 of us from Utah that go to advocate for Utah, right, or for public lands counties in general. But it's a mandated thing that they're supposed to pay, the federal government's supposed to pay, but it's not an ongoing funded thing. They have to vote on it every single year, they have to vote to fund it, and so.
And sometimes we get more, sometimes we get less.
Yeah, and it varies, it's never actually the same. The other paper that's on there is SRS, and that's the Secure Rural Schools, and they put that into place 20 some odd years ago, but, they put that in place, 2000, because when the lawsuits shut down the timber industry, then all of the forest in general, the revenue from the forest shut down. So if you compare like Garfield County and Escalante specific, I'll just use them in specific. We don't have that quality of forest here, but it still damaged our forest, right? Damaged Iron County. But Escalante alone, I think they had 7 or 8 timber mills and lumber yards, and their whole population of Escalante worked worked in these places. And when the spotted owl and the environmental groups shut the timber industry down, they lost, out of the 150 kids that they had in their elementary school, they lost 100 of them. It went down to 50 kids, and their families had to move out of town and get jobs somewhere else. It was just decimated the little town of Escalante. So they put this SRS funding together, and it's part of the PILT formula, and it's to pay kind of the same thing in lieu of timber receipts. It's still to keep with us, all of our SRS money goes into roads, right? It doesn't even.
It goes to a separate subdivision, or a separate
service district.
service district.
Yeah. So, but
We can't have both. We got to
it's
explain that.
lapsed, they've not approved it. So that's gonna screw out, there's a lot of these counties like Garfield and that, they're huge Forest Service. I mean, we're only, 7 or 8% Forest Service of our county, so we don't get that much. I mean, we get, what is it?
136.
Yeah, 136,000 a year, but that's still pretty significant. And part of the formula, I mean, we need them both they need to make us whole.
Yeah.
And so that's the advocacy. Because of this kind of stuff that we're so dependent on the federal government, if we can manage our own BLM lands, that still has nothing to do with Forest Service. That lawsuit has nothing to do with
It's just
Forest
BLM.
Service. It's just BLM. We can open it up to minerals and mining and, keep it open for recreational and hunting. Right now, they've been shutting roads down. They've shut over, 600 miles worth of roads in Grand County alone this year. And it's just an ongoing issue. Anyway, kind of in a very long-winded, weedy explanation, that's why.
And basically what this resolution does is says that we just support the state of Utah
This is a political
in getting this
statement.
land.
Support.
Exactly. Plus there is an ask of
$1,000
to support.
Yeah.
Yes. Correct.
I would make a motion that we approve resolution number 2024-07, supporting Utah versus the United States legal action in the Supreme Court docket.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
And with that, can I also add the payment for the amicus brief, or does that need to be a separate, or the amicus brief is a separate?
I think it needs to be separate, because I think the payments for the amicus brief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It is, it's
Okay.
the extension of this.
Exactly.
I'll keep the motion to the resolution.
Okay. Second, motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Commissioner Pearson, aye.
Oh, Commissioner Yardley, aye.
Commissioner Holland, could I make that unanimous? And then I'll take the motion on the other bill.
I'm gonna make that. Sure. I'll make a motion, we approve the bill, the payment to UAC for $1,000 for the amicus brief.
I'm not sure it goes to UAC though.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
It does.
will.
That's where the invoices come in.
Okay.
And they are contracting with the lawyer.
Okay, you're correct. Okay,
I'll
motion,
second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, unanimous, thank you.
Commissioner Pearson, any word on if Nevada or Colorado is gonna join in on the lawsuit?
There's conversations going on. We had a lot of, I was able to talk about it a lot while we were in our conference last week. There's a lot of, the Public Lands Council that we're members of, the Utah Public Lands Council, they are doing their own amicus brief. There's several different groups across the country. I think, Farm Bureau, is looking at it. I'm hoping that they will do it. I think there's a lot of support. The only problem is, the initial thing is they need to have the amicus brief done by October 22nd, and it's a very, where it goes, and you'll understand this, where it goes to the Supreme Court, there's a very specific, way they propose to it has to be printed in a packet, 40 copies, specific paper, specific font, bound, like the copies themselves, they figure is going to cost at least $2,500, plus whatever the attorney is going to put the time and effort in. So, from what I understand, the one that the American Lands Council, the one that UAC is doing, is going to cost at least $14,000. That's the bid. So.
Okay, thank you.
And also just thanks to Commissioner Pearson for going out there to Washington DC last week. I do think guilt and stuff is a huge deal, and it does help our county a lot. So again, thanks for doing that, and representing us out there, so. Because we all love Washington DC. Thanks for coming.
I got my workout in, and I got that, my miles.
I mean, some people question that, but it is very helpful, and it's a good deal for the county, so.
Well,
appreciate that.
Ginger and I talked about this a month or two ago, because it's one of those things, we got 1.3 million, or we don't.
Yes.
So it's worth a couple of thousand to go out.
Yeah.
Agree
Remind people
100%.
that they owe us that, and then some.
Okay, Civic Plus renewal next. Who's, is that you?
Yeah, it already, we already, I think we need it, but,
We
We need to ratify it.
yeah.
Ratify it?
Sorry.
Civic Plus, would you just, what is Civic Plus is again, real quick?
It's the annual contract for the county website.
Perfect.
Well, not the county website, it's
The payment.
the payment portion of it that they book,
Gotcha.
like Tusher
How people
and.
can pay through.
And the fair.
Gotcha.
And the fair.
Or not fairgrounds, but the
Yeah,
reservoir.
the lake.
Yeah.
And that is with all of our bills online that people can pay, correct?
No, this is only specific for
Only.
reservations.
Right, all the reservations?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Well, I make a motion that we ratify the
Renewal?
signature.
okay.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
Made unanimous, perfect. All right.
and we're back on time.
Now time, Allison, it's like, man, how are you this morning? Good. Very good. Fair update, I love the fair. I can't believe it's come and gone again.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
So weird.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It's true, and pass that over to Tammy. There, you just need one page, just for your information.
That's who I.
And I'll give you mine, but I gotta have a permanent, that's all. Okay, just, as you know, every year I like to come in, just kind of give you an update of the fair, and I thought everything went really smooth this year. I really want to thank the commission donations. If you look under the highlights, or you look at the list of the donations, we were at $15,350, plus the $2,000 in buckles that kind of is for the fair, but for livestock. Last year, we had $6,750, so we more than doubled that.
Wow.
And I really love that. And then if you look at the revenue, last year, we decided to increase the vendor booth to $100 instead of $75. So we had $3,200 in.
And you had more vendors than you ever had.
Yes, it was like a good problem to have, but we were
Run out of
stressing
spots?
out. Yeah,
Yeah,
everywhere.
There was no open space.
No, there wasn't. And we had really good variety and some new ones, you know, like, for example, a really good success story is Robin McMullen with her Lavender Farm, a local business where she had it there, but because of that, we were able to get her to the Meet the Money big chamber meeting that we had a couple weeks ago. And because of that, my son Jacob works for Utah State University with e-commerce. He's helped Bose and a few businesses in Beaver, and he's one that they've accepted to have her help, you know, get a website, get all that kind of stuff. So because of, you know, one step there, it's just progressed. It's really exciting to see some of that progress.
Do the vendors kind of give you kind of any feedback about how they feel like it went for them?
Yeah, and they all seem like happy with what they did. We had a lot of ice cream this year,
Yeah.
but because we had handles, we had the sweet spot, we had the red trailer, the custard trailer that's now part of
The
Soda
Tiger
Day.
/ custard.
Yes,
The good one.
the gelati.
Yeah.
And then we had the Twisted Sisters who did like slushies and stuff. So
Right.
we kind of had a lot of ice cream, but we had decided years ago that we're not going to limit it because that's the American way, right? It's like if you have a good product, people are going to go buy it. And
Right.
I know like several said, "Oh yeah, we'll be back." So
Good.
just make sure we get the invitation. So that's really good. The rodeo gates were down a little bit this year, but we knew with home ball games that's always, but I still felt it was like a respectable amount. And you have to realize that the rodeo gate, we have the $5 entries, plus we also have the family pass for $25. So it's not a true reflection of how many people are there, just because, you know, they could have a family of 7 or 8 get in for $25.
Right.
It was a good rodeo too.
But yeah,
They always do a good job.
They do a really good job. The derby gates were up, and if you look below the Venmo, the 2466, that should be divided between the rodeo and the derby, just because we didn't divide that out. So I would just say if you add another 1,000 on, and then that makes to each event, then so that makes the rodeo, you know, 5,500, the derby 15,900, so almost 16,000. So, and I didn't really have any complaints about raising the adult rates to $10. So I think we keep it at that. And
The only complaints I heard about money at all was just the carnival tickets.
yeah, and we'll talk about that in just one second. So one of the with the derby, I felt like it was very justified to bring Eric in. They just had a spectacular derby.
The show that people received for the $10 ticket, they.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
they're never gonna
Yeah.
complain. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
100% agree.
And I was talking to Wade Garrett, who helps up there in Juab County. He's on the state fair board and Farm Bureau and everything, and he's like, "You did it for $10? That's still a steal." And I'm like, "Yeah, I
It is a
know.
steal, yeah.
It is." But I appreciate, you know, we want to keep it family friendly so that people will be able to afford to come.
This is my point though, is, our residents have 1 week that we can get together and celebrate our county.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are paying for it to begin with,
Absolutely.
taxpayer money.
Yeah.
We don't need to gouge them at the gates. We're not
Right.
there to make, I mean, nobody, I don't care who you are, nobody's fair is making big money.
No.
They just don't, there's no way.
Yeah, it's a
So-
public service.
So it is a public service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the carnival kickback was 11:30.
Oh, so
Last
you
year, if you can see the line below, we brought in $3,113, but last year we were also subsidizing $5 per ticket. So, and that was like 2,000 something, so essentially our break even, we're the same. But the tickets cost a little bit more with their system, and so, I don't know, I kind of just thought, well, we just have to kind of see how it goes. Last year we sold 504 pre-sale wristbands. This year it was just over 350, so we were about 150 down. But we also sold a whole bunch of those right during the Junior Bridges registration. And so that added, I know we went through like 2 booklets then, last year. And so, you know, Angela had said, sorry, we have to cut it off at midnight the night before, and Dale said, no, we could have sold up to that time, so we had a little bit of conflicting information, so we'll get that squared away, and for next year it'll be better.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we go back to saying, well, we'll subsidize the $5, but really, we're giving them a really great bargain across the board for the fare. So this is one thing I just didn't know we wanted the extra headache.
I don't think so.
So,
I think that's a-
and it was a new online system, and so it was a learning curve, you know.
Yeah.
But, and actually, if they had left over here, it would be good in Iron County as well. So if they had tickets left over, they could go and use it there at that carnival thing. And then, the volleyball and the wind, I talked to Dale up at the state fair. They take 15 rides up to the state fair, so we saw him up there while we were there last weekend. And he's like, you know, we were down, but that wind and just, you know, but we'll be back. They were happy with, you know, they covered their bases, so.
Good.
And then volleyball and junior bridges, that's just kind of combined some of their entry fees, just taken out, before. So for a total of $27,116. So if you add your donations and revenue together, that's $44,466.03. And that doesn't include, there's a few little things that it doesn't include, but that's almost half of my spare budget. So I was kind of excited to see that the return is probably the highest we've ever had,
Right.
as far as that goes. So some of the highlights, derbies, the exhibits, the nice thing with our fair entry is I can track them. So I went on and got just the open class, 21 was 1069, 22, 1052, 23, 1199, and then this year 1279. So we're
So you really
consistently
Getting
growing
bigger.
in our open class exhibits, and that doesn't even count the 4-H. So if you added the 4-H in, we were well over 1,500. So that's
Wow.
really great.
Yeah,
For-
that is good.
It was tight.
It was tight, it was tight.
We have to be creative, and we hang things from
They
the
started
ceiling. and-
stacking stuff up and.
Yeah, so I mean, we could have spread a few things out a little bit better, but we did, you know, we have some ideas for next year, and we hung all the little bracelets off this little wire thingy and made it work, so.
The tables were full.
The tables were full, and, which is great, that's
Well,
what a fair is.
that's what it ought to be.
It takes effort to
Exactly.
bring them, and it.
I was excited about the garden produce this year,
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Yeah, it was really great, and Kirk's were great, any pumpkin, because they had done the farm field day and gave out pumpkin seeds. So any of the pumpkins, they had special prizes like hammocks and stuff for all the pumpkin
Oh,
kids.
really?
So it was really fun at the end, Little Lambs just did a fantastic job with that. The sound, it was nice, he just did the whole thing with the junior bridge and worked way better. So I like to
It worked
see
way
that.
better, yeah, it worked way better for
And
them.
he was checking on, is this working, is there something, do you need music? I know I talked to Haley, and she's like, that's my number one, do that again, so.
Yeah, we did find out after the fact, cause you can't, we gotta do a revamp on that announcer stand over there.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare, where I'm at, on the little bridges.
Yeah, can't see.
You can't
some of
see
that.
anything and you can't hear anybody else. And so when he came in and did the music for us, it was overshadowing the music in the back arena.
Oh,
And so we had to go turn it down, you know. And
Okay.
you can't really even hear it in the booth, it's only outside that you can hear. So you couldn't tell that you were blowing everybody out.
yeah, yeah. So something neat, I really loved Andrea as the bathroom cleaner, she was dedicated, she came in there. I didn't have one complaint on the bathrooms this year, which is like a 999% decrease from last year. Because every 5 minutes, I was in there fixing the toilet again. I need another printer, just print out that many tags, it's just crazy. And,
Well, and a laptop too, don't you?
yeah, I'd like to get a laptop but I wanna keep them on
Printers
the
are cheap.
Yeah, they're like $200, so if you're okay with that, I'd like to just get one and leave it down there. And then the ceiling fan in the big room, we talked about that,
Yeah.
maybe getting something to smooth air. When you have, big events in there, it's all stuffy.
Yeah.
Well, it was really bad that during the lunch,
For the senior
days.
Yeah.
Pretty warm.
But it's another good problem to have, it just means you've got a lot of bodies in there,
Yeah,
crammed into a
right,
little
right.
space, you know?
Yeah,
Well,
I
but
think it stayed really cool.
Yeah,
It was
that
it
new
was well,
But it gets warm too, I mean,
Once
you
you
know,
get-
once you get the bodies and stuff,
and the
that
doors are open and stuff, it's
Right,
trying to do more
yeah.
than it should.
Mhm.
we still should look into maybe another one of those units for that bigger room.
Mhm. It's so much easier to use.
So we talked about that quite a bit with Jen, and she said there's plenty of room, like if you put the outside mounts in between the storage unit on that
Yeah,
east side,
yeah, that's where I would say, is right there by, wait, on the storage unit?
where the storage
The
container,
Connex
container,
box.
the
Yeah,
Connex
the
box.
Connex box.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where that is outside, 'cause there really isn't any, you know,
yeah.
it wouldn't
Nothing over there.
interrupt
Yeah.
flow or, you know, be a people's road or anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just really appreciate your help with the fair. I mean, it's just grown every year, and just, there's little things every year that's like, oh, this would really help, you know, the man door by the garage door, or this, or the roping shed, or, you know, I mean, it was the park, the volleyball, and there's been so much.
We're gonna work on, the handicap
parking,
yeah, and get that topped off.
Yeah.
Get rid of the gravel and try and do,
yeah,
chip seal up there too, 'cause that'd be really good.
yeah, absolutely, so, just
Yes.
thank you. I know it takes money, and I know it takes a lot of money, but I also see the benefits, you know, just having, you know, all the kids down there for the, the field trips, and, you know, just seeing everybody mingle together, that unity that it brings for that week, I just think it's priceless. So,
Well, you do a wonderful job, and you've got some amazing people working for you.
some really great volunteers.
You got some really good, I think we need to be actively pursuing more,
Mhm.
just because us elderly people keep getting.
Yeah. Well, and, I mean, this is another really great example of our junior fair board, you know,
Right.
we took the stuff that Paisley Bradshaw James is now our team director, she was a junior fair board, she came up through, you know, so is that younger, and it's really great I mean, they still need a little bit of guidance and help to
Yeah.
get there, but they're willing to step up and help out.
But I'm talking more like the 30-year-olds and
Yeah.
those people that have kids that are involved, and
Yeah,
we need to really kind of start targeting
yeah,
some of those before some of our older people are out of commission.
Well, they need to learn about volunteerism at that age
Yeah.
and be willing to help, so.
yeah.
There's a few that I've got in mind, so we'll see if we can.
That's good.
Well, that's great, you know, and that's the thing, if you ask them to do one job, like Stacy Barnes and,
Yeah.
a few of those that came on, I was thinking, did I use the right name? I almost called her Stacy Whitaker.
You're right.
Yeah, so, you know, it's really great to have some of those people coming and helping and giving back, but it takes, you know, I always tell people, you don't want to be my friend, because I'm gonna ask you to do something. So I give them fair warning, but there are some people who, have moved back into town that are in that, you know, 30 young family that are like, I'll help do this, and so,
Yeah, but they just have to be asked.
yeah, yep,
People will usually do it if you ask and involve them,
yep, yep,
show them the value of it. But like you said, they're not gonna come and just volunteer out of it just because.
right,
Most people won't.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
busy anyway, but if they get asked, they
Yeah.
seem to respond.
yeah, yeah. And just reminder, our fair appreciation dinner is September 30th.
So, yeah.
So if you could be there, that would be really great, and if you just can say a couple words to thank
What time is it?
everybody.
6?
I can't remember if it was 6 or 6:30, so I've got to go back and look, but I'll resend the text or the email as a reminder.
Thanks for everything you do.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, hope you really know that we really appreciate it. Appreciate Brandon and the board and you and your guys. It is awesome.
I even wrote in the grand entry for the first time in 6 years.
It was awesome. It was
We were
awesome.
there.
It was about damn time.
And you know what?
See you, Mark.
Some of those
Thanks,
little
Mark.
beers.
Yeah, it's good.
That's what I said,
They're the ones who need it.
see,
Good.
now you know
Fine.
what we've been going through. But you guys do all the work, then we got all the glory, and that's just not right.
No.
So
But we were there, because we were right in front of it, right in front,
Right
in the
yeah.
truck.
Yeah.
That's a good way to
Thanks
put
for
it.
doing that.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Allison.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
guys.
Thanks, Alex.
Okay, thanks. Are we in?
What? Yeah, I see the time, it's 10:45, I was gonna say. We're gonna take a 5-second recess. No, we'll give it 2 minutes, and 2-minute recess. Our agenda's actually gonna be 9:45. It's okay. We're ahead of schedule, just keep on with it. Maybe I can do old business real quick. With this contract right here. All right, I talked to Tracy yesterday, yeah.
Did she see you too, Brandon?
Yeah.
So while you're here, this will be a wonderful opportunity for this Commissioner Harvey about the roof.
Yeah. I think we have progress.
Yeah, that's what I understand, so we'll just follow up to make sure we're still moving forward.
Okay.
Sorry. You're doing good. Well, okay. You're really, that's good. Yeah, that's good, that's good. They're just on short break for a minute, they'll be right back. All right, well, I always come and sit by you.
What?
I always come and sit next to you.
Yeah. We do the
That's what I'll do again tonight.
Okay, perfect. Anything else we need to talk about? I don't know, we just have the contract, everything now is done, and then they killed the first, so we started making various treatments. This weekend, he did, and they're signed by, I had to, they did it.
So, yeah, we're-
Yeah, it should be okay. Yeah, it was the first year they drew out.
Oh, she beat us.
Yeah, I was hurrying. Well, when you told me 5 seconds, I'm like, whoa. How are you?
I'm good.
Serves you right.
Well, I'm glad to be good, 'cause I was sick last week. So
You were sick last week?
Yeah. Not sick enough to stay home, just sick enough to be miserable.
Yeah. How are you? Hurry up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, we reconvene. Our next item on the agenda is gonna be updated contracts for therapists with Teresa, correct?
Yes,
No, I mean, your department.
yes. My department.
Go ahead.
Teresa Wood, Children's Justice Center. I'm just here to ask the commission to sign the contract with the therapists. It's the annual renewal. We just have to have them sign it every year, just based on funding. If we have funding, then we have them sign it, so.
And this is it here, correct?
Mhm.
And
These
Vaughn,
therapists will be providing services for both Garfield and Houston.
Yes, that we can make referrals. So we make referrals to these therapists that have signed our agreement. And I may have more to come.
So Darlene,
But you said other than we have removed, we have Michael, we have Amy.
But, we have an expiring 6/30, and so with each fiscal
6/30
year.
of 24.
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
yeah, so we got payments to renew.
Yeah, she printed this today.
Yeah.
They're not in the packet, so just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
so are there 3 therapists?
So there's each spouse enjoy, so there is Amy Nelson and Darlene Horton, Michael Mortensen, and
Rebecca Dalton?
Rebecca Dalton. Rebecca Dalton's with Sunray, and she's our Garfield County therapist. Yeah. And this is all this means is we can make referrals to them, and we can use state funding to pay for services for kids that take those referrals.
Maybe you'll see.
Mhm. Yeah, and so that funding can come through the CJC program.
All the funding is state funding, county dollars.
Right, correct.
This is part of what we're required to do.
Yeah, this is part of the requirements of the,
But it's a great service for the kids.
yeah. So in order for us, now, our state is wanting us to make sure that the kids have access to high-quality therapy services, and so we can't just make referrals to anybody, have to meet with certain guidelines and requirements. And so those are all written out in the contract, as well as the amounts to be paid to the therapist for the services.
And so do these all come under the grant?
These all come through the state budget.
Okay.
Mhm. And so just
So
so you
it's not
know,
a separate contract that Beaver County pays separately?
no, just where you guys are our fiscal agent, it has to be approved through the county.
So I think Ginger would call this pass-through funding, if I got that term right.
Yeah, I knew that, I did.
We're the fiscal agent for the
I
CJC.
used to remember, it was for the second.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
Yeah.
any other questions?
Are there some of these that are just stay in Garfield, or do they come to Beaver or Garfield wherever you need them?
So the therapist can, well, like, kids can go out to Garfield or out to Cedar.
Okay.
I'm working on, trying to see if our local therapists are willing to sign the contracts too,
They're awfully busy.
but they're awfully busy, so. They do meet the requirements, we just need to work with
And isn't there- so are
see if
these-
we can get them to do it too.
these counselors, are they more targeted towards the youth?
Trauma therapy
Yeah.
focused, yeah, these are highly qualified trauma-focused therapists. Mhm.
So the local,
Our local ones are too,
Yeah.
both Pepper, Paul, and Ty all have the trauma-focused, cognitive behavioral therapy. We just haven't gotten like the paperwork from them. We have to collect a lot of different, certificates and paperwork and all of their training and everything in order to enter into a contract with them, and we just haven't had, our Pepper, Paul, and Ty haven't, agreed to do that yet, so.
like.
And they can still see our clients, we just can't use state funding to pay for their services until we have a contract with them.
So right now, they've got, if there is a child, they have to leave the county to get services.
Not necessarily, but in order for the state, for the CJC to pay for the services, they would have to go to,
To the trauma
Cedar
counselor.
or to the specialized trauma counseling. I mean, they still have the option to go to any services that they like. And we can also use like the CVR, which is the crime victim reparations. They have a slightly different contract requirement in order for the crime victims funds to pay for therapy services, so, and they can still use local therapists using those funds. Those are just specified funds for, if they want to use these state dollars, so.
For the future though, if any of you happen to have connections to the hospital and want to maybe just remind our counselors that it'd be great for our kids to be able to come emergency counselors.
Yeah. I had a chat with Pepper this week about
Nobody would be
it, so
offended if you.
I think I probably just need to sit
Do
down
you think
and
it's a
just.
matter of availability for them? Is
I
that
think
why?
it's, yes, I think it's availability and just,
They're busy, they feel overwhelmed.
one of the
It's just
requirements.
one more thing for them to have to.
Yeah, one of the requirements is they have to make time to be able to attend like MDT meetings and different things like that.
Right.
And so I think it's definitely availability is the issue, but that's the only issue that I know of, is availability and how.
But there's
they
money,
do
I
it.
mean, the money's available to pay them, so it's not like they wouldn't get paid for that time or
Correct,
service.
right, yeah,
Adding more time to
But maybe they don't have time.
Yeah, they're already over.
their clock.
yeah.
There's
And
24 hours.
we
Which is
just
good
need-
and bad, good and sad, right?
Yeah.
Good and bad, but.
And sleep's overrated.
That's right.
Yeah,
I'm all
and
for that.
I'm happy to have a conversation with Scott and Pepper and Ty and just, it just gets complicated with the hospital billing and things like that, and I'm sure that they're just like, we don't have, what's this right now, no, it's okay.
I'll talk, I'll bring it
Yeah,
up.
let's see if we can figure it out, I would love to have,
Especially in
Good.
I would love to have
Good
contracts
job.
with them as well.
especially with emergencies, you know, like you need somebody right
Mhm.
now, and you need somebody local and not have to travel.
Yeah,
We don't need to
and,
live around here.
and just so, you know, that we're meeting, I guess, fiduciary appropriateness, you know, we still bill the patient's insurance, we still have the patient's insurance billed first, and then if there's a copay or anything left over, then that's where the state funding can help pay for, or they can help pay for like the first few sessions, and if a client doesn't have insurance at all, they can help pay for up to 12 sessions, so it's really helpful to get people started and get that therapy in place, before like crime victims kicks in, you know, just to make sure that the family's not being stuck with those bills.
Right.
Well, I think the concern with all of us is if somebody needs that help, but they have to drive to Cedar to get it, they may choose not to get the
Right.
help, and that's
Right.
the concern.
It
So
makes
if
us
there's
less
something
likely
to
to
help.
help accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't ever make them drive there, we just let them know what their options are, you know, there's the local therapy that's available, and like I said, crime victims, most of the time, if they're a victim of a crime, will pick up and pay for, up to 25 sessions, I think, 20 or 25 sessions for primary victims, and slightly less for secondary victims, so like if a parent needs to be able to counsel, you know, like, hey, how do I talk to my child after something like this happens, how do I support them best, you know, a lot of times it's really helpful for a parent to be enrolled in therapy services too, but there's certain times when, for whatever reason, a child still has that trauma, but they may not qualify as a victim of a crime for whatever reason, so
Right.
they might not qualify for those funds, so we just wanna make sure. And then we also have our Friends Board, and so anytime, if we can't, you know, for whatever reason, if they don't qualify for either crime victim reparations or state funding, we can always ask our Friends Board, and they have paid for therapy services for kiddos too. So that's what, some of those donations that would go with our golf tournament and things like that, that can help go for that too, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want it to become a burner to our county, but just the way that it's set up through the state, just to make sure that all of our obligations are met and that the agreements with the National Children's Alliance are met, we have these contracts through the state now. So it's a fairly new thing, we didn't used to do these, this has just been within the last, they started this 2023. So basically when I started, this started too, so.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate what you do,
Yeah.
and wish it wasn't needed, you know.
And I can tell you that I have had a lot of, spent a lot of hours working with the therapist, getting these relationships, trying to explain, you know, all of the need for the extra, because the requirements for the therapist is quite rigorous, and they have to have supervision, they have to have continuing education, they have to have, you know, the trauma-focused training, they have to have so many hours in it. I mean, it's very rigorous, the requirements that these therapists have to have in order to qualify to treat kids with the type of trauma that abused children need. So, it's been a lot of figuring things out, and we're kind of pioneering this, honestly, the state of Utah is kind of pioneering this with the funding, piece where it comes through legislation and allocated to the Children's Justice Center, so we want to be very, responsible with that money.
Good.
Mhm.
Okay, so I do have, so this one says a resolution. Is this, what's the resolution one? It's with Rebecca. I don't know. The other ones are just contracts.
Oh, so this is our next item on the calendar.
At 10 o'clock?
Yeah, this is the, newly contracting forensic interviewers for the Garfield County
Probably
Center.
just a resolution, I shouldn't have.
So maybe one at a time. So I guess what we need now is just a motion to approve the entry into those contracts with those therapy providers.
Mhm, yeah.
And then we can move on to the.
Yeah, then we can move
Well,
on to
there's
the.
actually, there's,
There's Billy and there's Rebecca, there's two of these.
there's 5, right?
But this is what the stuff.
Michael, Darlene, Diane, Amy Nilsson, and Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the contracts we're gonna update for 2025, correct?
Yes, yep.
All right, I'll entertain a motion on those first.
I'll make a motion, we approve the updated contracts for the fiscal year 25 therapists. You want the names?
Why is that?
Okay, Wade just said, Commissioner Holly said just said.
Unless you wanna do it again.
No, sir.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make unanimous. I think, Paul, that goes to you as well, to sign.
Fantastic. Yep.
So this
You got
one,
them. Thank
did
you.
we do a resolution last year?
So those ones that say resolution,
That's approving the agreement with a forensic interviewer for services at the county satellite children's justice center in Garfield County.
yeah, so that's the next item on the agenda.
But have we
Oh, he's
done
going
that
down there.
before?
All right, that goes to
No,
Vaughn.
this is
Oh.
new.
That goes to Vaughn, sorry.
This
He's
is-
walking around.
Yeah, I'm moving turn.
Like, where's he going? I thought he went over there, did I talk over
All
there?
right, so.
Okay, keep up with this.
Yeah, she hasn't, the rest of them are signed, I just haven't, she hasn't.
Gotcha.
So is this a brand new thing, or is this some, this says in 2023 that we entered into the agreement?
Oh, I need to update that, okay.
So we line through that and put the correct year?
Yeah, put a line through it and put
And
this
put
year.
24.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta remember the resolution as well.
It's probably gonna be 08,
08? Okay.
because the other one.
We did 07, right?
I'll let you do that.
Okay, we're falling from heaven.
2024-08?
Yeah.
I can get in there. Which I won't tell you for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's gotta be 08. Most of them.
Just
Well,
not-
the one that we
Line it
did
up.
this morning, was 07.
So, Vaughn, have you seen this resolution?
No, I am behind on my.
Yeah, that's what I emailed that.
Oh, so I have seen it, sorry. Thank you.
That's the contract for forensic
Really
interview.
show the change there. Yeah. I'll hand it back to you. There you go.
Muscles, yeah.
Ginger needs copies of all of these. We should just.
If you'll take those and then just email them to me. That's great. Just have the agenda together. She can just scan them to me.
All right. So this resolution is, just the agreement with forensic interview for services at the county satellite Children's Justice Center in Garfield County.
Correct.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions with that?
So I guess just to clarify, we're the fiscal agent for Garfield County?
Correct. So this will be paid for out of our budget that's been allocated through the CJT, through the state program.
I like the guys in Garfield County, I just feel a little odd doing a
Yeah,
resolution. for
and
county
the
property.
Barry Huntington over there's like, seems a little bit strange too, but it's just because everything
Because you cover
goes
both
through our
sides.
budget,
Yeah, right.
and we're the fiscal agent.
Okay.
So we're, as Beaver County is the fiscal agent, and they're the ones that have to sign the resolution.
You know, Iron did this for us for years and years.
Right.
Yeah.
Until we finally declared our independence.
What day was that? We celebrate?
We probably should, and eventually,
Well, and
Oh, yeah, you're right.
potentially if Beaver County, if our MDT determines that they want to go the direct route of having a dedicated forensic interviewer that does interviews for the center, that's not law enforcement based or, CPS based, then they could do interviews over here too. Right now, Beaver County Sheriff's Office is more comfortable doing their own interviews, and I'm okay with that. If, a lot of the CJCs in the state are going dedicated forensic interviewers. That's the trend that most of the centers are going now.
but for now, we're
So,
okay. Our sheriffs,
yeah.
the ones who do them are well-trained, and they do a great job, so.
But Garfield County was on board with
The dedicated.
with a dedicated forensic interviewer that's separate from the sheriff's office, and that's the way we wanted to go. So that's why we have these contracts with them. And just kind of a little bit of background, Billy Lamb, she used to be an interviewer for CPS, and she is currently the interviewer for Kane County for their Children's Justice Center down there. She lives halfway between King County and Garfield County, and so she was willing to contract with our center as well. So she'll do interviews for King County and Garfield County. That will give her more experience with interviewing, and it'll allow us to have two interviewers in case there's conflict. You know, sometimes people might have a personal conflict doing those interviews with children, so especially where they live in the community, and that's the case. Becky Dalton, she is outstanding community member. She's on our MDT already. She serves as the therapist, so you saw that contract with her for therapy services. So as long as it's not a client that she interviews, then she can still do therapy services for them. But if it's a client that she interviews, then we'll make other referrals for therapy services. And she is also the therapist for the school district for the elementary, and so she'll only be able to interview kids that are not in elementary school, if that makes sense. So that's why we have two. Billy will do the younger kids, and Becky will do the older kids.
In Garfield.
In Garfield County. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so actually, I guess we need a motion for the resolution first, and then the agreement again with Rebecca, I guess, in Garfield, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yes. So I'll take the resolution, number 2024-08, which is a resolution with, Becky to do satellite services in Garfield County, correct? That's how I read it.
I'll make the motion that we approve the resolution number 2024-08, and it is approving an agreement with a forensic interviewer for services at the county satellite children's justice center in Garfield County.
Perfect, thank you.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Commissioner Pearson, aye.
Commissioner Yardley, aye.
Commissioner Owens said aye. Then I'll make another motion for their services as an interview with, not the resolution, so it's a different motion, I suppose.
So this is,
Interviewer services agreement.
Yep.
yeah, this is a motion to approve the interviewer services agreement with Garfield County. Right?
That's with Becky again.
With Becky.
Okay?
With Becky, what's her name?
Dalton.
Dalton, Becky Dalton.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. I think Bonnie to sign those, and Ginger needs to sign them all as well.
Commissioner Pearson, you let those good friends of ours in Garfield County
Presley, did you
know
send
that
them
we
the
are
one that
passing
was
resolution.
deleted?
Yes.
For them.
For them.
And we're taking really good care of it.
It's got a sign as well.
There should be one with Billy Lamb too, do you have that one?
Haven't she printed all of them?
There's a place for you to sign. One day Garfield will declare their independence.
And we'll celebrate them too.
And run, and we'll celebrate with them.
No, we don't.
Their own CJC. They're probably a few years out from that. I know they're still working on some things.
Thanks for all your help and work up there, both of you. And I did talk to, I mean, just for an update, I did talk to Tracy about some of the improvements we're gonna do on the building, the roof especially, and she says there is money to help with that. So once we kind of figure out exactly where we're at, that we'll get the information to you and you can pass along to her, so.
Perfect.
She was more than willing to say, yes, there is some, especially if we can get it done this year, which is what our goal is,
Mm-hmm,
to get that roof done this year before it snows.
yeah.
Although it snowed today, if you know something else.
Was it really?
Yes, there's snow in the mountains.
What elevation? How high up? If you could guess.
What's that?
10,000 feet, 11,000 feet?
I don't know, I saw that this morning, I thought, heck, it snowed there today. I would probably say it
I
was,
wasn't paying attention, I guess.
I think it was more like probably 9, it was the peaks, I mean, wow. Let me see,
Okay.
10,000 probably.
I should have looked a little more carefully.
Should've looked.
This morning.
It was there, I was like, whoa, I should see a picture. It's
We
pretty,
have to go for a drive to.
probably melted. But anyways, we're trying to get the building, that roof done before it snows, like
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
this level.
Valid. So, updates,
One on the 13th.
bids, and where we at?
Today, well, whatever.
So they are here today measuring the building again.
Yeah.
They're gonna put it out, they're gonna help us get ready to put it out for bid as soon as possible was the terminology.
There's snow on the mountain?
Yeah. So
That would be fantastic.
hopefully we can get it out to bid by the end of the month. And
Awesome.
still get it done before it snows.
That would be phenomenal. Yeah, I know that everybody's responsible. Thank you.
Before we go, I just, apparently one of the resolutions didn't get printed, the resolution and contract for Billy
So we
Lamb.
need to get that
It's
done.
exactly the same.
We can pass it and then just sign
Can
it.
we?
So it'd be resolution 2024-09,
Mhm.
it's different person.
So it's a resolution or
It's a
it's a
different-
contract?
Oh,
It does have to have both.
Because we did one for the first interviewer, now we need to do one for the second.
Mhm,
What's the,
correct.
what's the person's name?
It's Billy Lamb, and I just forwarded that to Preston so she can print it.
we can still pass it and we can sign it. and then
Because
it's fine.
it's the exact same thing, just a different interviewer, right?
Mhm, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What's his name? Billy what?
Billy Lamb.
Lamb.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion that we pass the resolution with Billy Lamb, 2024-09.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Commissioner,
Commissioner Yardley, aye.
Commissioner Pearson, aye.
Commissioner Holmes, aye. And then I'll also entertain a motion that we accept his services as a therapist as well.
I'll make that motion also.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay, okay.
So
Thank you,
it's
Becky.
Becky Dalton, is that right?
Becky
Dalton,
Dalton, or Rebecca,
Rebecca.
Rebecca Dalton.
Yes, Rebecca, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Billy Lamb. Okay. And
Yeah, they did both.
Billy is a contract for forensic interviewer, and she's not a therapist, she's a forensic interviewer.
Billy?
Mhm.
Okay.
She's got a question.
Yeah.
I got the resolution and the contract as well as
Is it not attached behind it?
the
Just the front sheet of the resolution and then the contract should be to follow. Perfect.
You can put that off in a minute, we'll sign it, it's okay.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Anything else for me?
No, thank you.
Hey, I will see you next time with
Okay.
our contract.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
Thanks for
wonderful
everything
day.
you do.
Thank you both.
Thank you guys for all of your support, it's wonderful seeing Beaver County.
Thanks, Teresa. Presley, you're next. 10-10. Beaver High School.
I told her to put this on.
They should, well, that's fine.
It should be.
Yeah.
board advertised.
I think we've been doing this for years.
Yep.
Is that what you want for Milford too?
I think last year we did it at the same time.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
I mean,
We haven't got the request.
I don't have the answer to the question, have they? Well, we should.
We haven't seen them yet.
Did they read the request?
Have they changed coaches or anything?
They did change
Yes, they
coaches.
did.
That's probably fine.
That's probably not, yeah.
I would say,
Good luck.
let's just do both at the same time,
When it comes to pay.
cause they billed us last year for both of them, right?
Okay, we'll do, both of them 150.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want a motion, or is that,
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
okay, I'll make a motion that we, sponsor the video boards for both Beaver High and Milford High School at $150.
Perfect.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Clarify, these will be on display inside of the gym.
In the gymnasium.
Yeah, and I
For the
actually think,
basketball.
I actually think they're electronics. I think there's actually
Yeah.
some electronic stuff that comes up as well,
Awesome.
Yeah.
so.
Sorry.
Nope,
You
that's
know,
good.
what we should do is request that they give us a little bit of credit. This video board is sponsored by Beaver County,
Yeah.
Yeah?
like everybody else does.
Yep. All right. Did you motion, you second?
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Made unanimous. Thank you.
Good job, Chairman.
Got that right.
Okay.
All right. I'll entertain a motion now that we adjourn as Beaver County Commission and reconvene as the RDA Board.
I'll make that motion.
Okay?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Commission is now ended. We are now as a RDA Board. Next item is review consult agreement with Escalante Solar.
Hello.
We have a new face here today. I'm not sure who this is. Can you introduce yourself, please?
You know what, first of all, I would like to say, my name is Jen Lakeland,
I'm just teasing.
and I have
Hi,
been
Jen.
out in the community selling
How are
this
you
place.
today?
I'm so flipping good, and I can't wait to sleep in my own bed tonight.
I'm just teasing.
I like it. I'll take all the tough time you can give me. So, as you may or may not remember, I introduced this topic to you last commission meeting. I was gonna say last week, but it's not even last week anymore. It was 2 weeks ago. Let me get a little bit plugged in for a second here. I have a big enough voice that I can sit this far away and it still picks me up just fine.
Sorry.
Okay.
Get this up.
Another resolution.
There are 3 of them.
Oh, dear.
Training resolutions.
You can approve them in the RDA as well, the RDA, so just remember that.
That's the one you.
Commission, right?
You can talk about it, but you can't approve it as it out.
That's okay, we reconvene here and approve it.
Yeah, we reconvene and then we'll follow up with it. But we're gonna start, don't get anxious on the resolutions yet. We're focusing
We're not
on.
looking at yours yet.
Okay,
We're
good.
finishing up the last one.
Okay, good. I was gonna say, we are all prepared, we have the hard copies.
Yeah, the papers are printed off in the RDA speaking on it,
Disregard.
Okay.
So, all that said, sorry, I'm navigating mice and screens, so give me just 1 second. As you recall, we talked briefly last commission meeting about the agreement with LRB, Lewis, Robertson, Birmingham. You'll remember that I can never remember that acronym until somebody cleverer than me said, call them LRB. And now I can get it right. So, this is the contract to work with LRB for the Escalante Solar CDA project. As you remember, you had a couple of questions for me about this. This would be an invoice that we pay and then get reimbursed from by the developer. And so that is this document that's in front of you. I should scroll. I forget that this is me. I'm driving today. It was in your packet last commission meeting, and the scope of work is found here on the final page. So we can see kind of what it is. And to remind you, let's take it back to the spring, when we had Clearway Energy come to talk about battery storage on Escalante 1, 2, and 3. And remember, they named the battery storage BESS 1, 2, and 3, right? And at that time, we said, yep, we gave them a conditional use permit. We do need to talk about participation agreements. Fast forward to the summer when I said, help, I'm drowning and I don't know what I'm doing. And you guys said, yeah, go ahead and let's reach out to LERB and see if they can help us, since they created some of the initial stuff and has helped us with other items. And so this is that contract for them to help us with the creation of the documents that you're going to look at today, the resolutions that you're going to hopefully adopt thereafter after we reconvene as the RDA board. And that's where we're at today. So, any questions you may have?
Is this comparable to the original contract that we've had with them?
Very comparable, because the way it works is LERB bills us, invoices us, and then we invoice Clearway or Holland and Hart, whomever. I believe it's going to be Clearway, correct? Not Holland and Hart, excuse me. Holland and Hart is who is representing Clearway. So, and that's whose representative is here today as well. So this is not pass-through. We had that question last time, which was...
Hang on a minute. Is this where we need to have the Zoom link?
No. Holland and Hart is here.
But a representative, so Russ...
Yeah, Russ Bruce, he's supposed to be on here.
He's gonna jump on as well, so whenever...
He's going to hop on to the next one.
Not this one?
This is the contract with
Okay.
LERB.
All right.
I know it's related to him, but pretend
I
he's
know, I
not
just
here
don't
for a
want to,
minute.
I don't want to have to backtrack.
Yes.
If this is where he was supposed to be in.
No, I believe he's going to be as part of the battery storage participation agreements, correct?
Right.
It's hard to keep them separate because they are intertwined.
Yeah, so many names and whatever. That's Lord, that's Lonnie.
So I can do a really quick
Yeah, no,
orientation?
you're okay.
Okay, all right.
Sure. Do you have any questions?
So these guys put the agreement together for the next one?
Correct. They are the
Yeah,
attorneys.
yeah.
They are the attorneys
Got it.
and the financial agents that are representing us on this side of the agreement.
And this is just for the one contract.
For battery storage in Escalante 1, 2, and 3.
Which is best.
BESS, yep, see, that's what it stands for, Battery
Getting smarter.
Energy Storage System. And it's gonna get a little more complicated here in a second, but this part is pretty straightforward.
Trying to block her out. Just kidding, man, you are really getting picked on today.
You know what, it's a good thing I have semi-fingertips. I'll just go home and cry quietly tonight, it's
Don't
fine.
do that, don't do that.
No crying in Beaver County.
There's no crying in Beaver County?
No.
Okay, so,
No.
okay.
So this, what you have in front of you is just the contract for LRB to represent Beaver County and its interests in negotiations on the BESS 1 through 3 projects.
So technically, we can vote on this in the RDA?
No.
No. So we're just taking your
We're
advice
just
and then we'll
taking-
think about it and come out of it.
There you
Okay.
go.
Okay.
And 15
I was gonna say, we
seconds.
can't make the motion right now.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
okay.
Don't
Move
do a
on.
thing.
Okay, next.
But if we don't like the recommendation, we don't have to pay it, is that?
Listen, I would strongly advise not to go that route, but you can do as you see fit.
Well,
LERB is on our side, just know that.
Say that, yeah.
LERB is on our side.
So question.
Yeah.
They're the ones that prepare our
Documents.
annual report.
Yeah.
Like, they're our attorneys, that we are,
Retaining.
we're retained.
And they work
It's
for us.
just somebody else is
Yeah.
paying the bill at the end of the story.
So my question is, when we used them before, we did more of did we do per contract, like, we didn't do one of these every time we had a different project.
No, but they might have changed their,
We have, so our contracted amount for them is for, keep in mind, we haven't done participation agreements in a real long time.
right.
So it's like, it's like starting from scratch,
Right,
except for it's
right.
really not because it has historical context. However, that said, this is for this specific project because there were already existing agreements and because when I came to you and said, hey, they're going to ask for a participation agreement, what do we want to look at? The direction I was given was follow what already exists within the boundaries. And so in order to do that, I said, hey, I'm swimming, I really don't know how to create these agreements. We need somebody on our team. And that's when we reached out to LURB, because LURB does our annual report. So the money that we have annually paid for LURB is for that annual report for transparency on the state level. This is for help with participation agreements, resolutions, governing documents for participation on Escalante BEST projects.
Got it.
All of them.
All three of
Not
them,
just the first one.
1 through 3.
Okay,
Okay.
that's what I want.
Although that's where it gets a little difficult because 1 through 3 fit within phase 2, but don't worry about that.
No.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
so I have resolutions, I followed the procedure and went to the resolution spreadsheet, and I have updated it 4 times this morning, because there have been some other fun resolutions that popped up for you. So, if these numbers need to shift again, we
I
can,
think you're right.
but I think I've been following your commission meeting all morning long.
You're right, yeah.
So I think I'm on track. Pretty impressive for me. So we have resolution 2024-10. We have resolution, sorry, my mouse is betraying me. There we go.
Ginger's is following your notes this morning. Because there was that second sneaky resolution that Teresa snuck in.
Yeah, we're
7,
good.
8, and 9.
Yeah, there we go.
This is number 3.
To be fair, this morning I started with 7, 8, 9. I was so excited to be 7, 8, 9, I was like, I will not forget those numbers. And now I'm 10, 11, 12, which is equally fun. So we have -10, we have -11, and we have -12. Again, we have to do the separate resolutions because there are 3 different phases, right? BEST 1, BEST 2, BEST 3. We will do the same thing on the participation agreement, BEST 1, BEST 2, BEST 3. So, now that I've introduced the resolutions, because again, they can't do anything on the resolutions in the RDA board, correct, Quan?
Correct.
Let's talk about the participation agreement. And this is where I'm going to bring up somebody who has quickly become my new best friend. Do you want to join me, Nathan? Nathan represents Holland and Hart, who are the attorneys for Clearway Energy on the BEST project.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want me to say? Isn't he like the sweetest person you've ever met?
Well, you haven't let him talk yet, so let's see.
Jen has been great to work with, and thank you, appreciate it. Russ Berluki is also a representative for Clearway. I don't know if we're going to add him, so he made it on.
Yeah, let's add that on really quickly.
So just for record, full name, please.
So Nathan Runyon,
Runyon.
R-U-N-Y, and with the law firm Holland and Hart.
Gotcha, thank you.
And I worked with LURB on several projects, so Jason's great to work with, and so.
Teresa, that's what you call them, the LURB also.
Yeah, that's new, I never heard of LURB.
You should have heard me
Maybe you
butchering
will now.
those initials every single time.
Yeah.
So remember when I said, well, we get Russ on the call? Nope, you're doing just fine. Remember when I said this gets a little complicated? You can see 1, 2, and 3 in the green boxes on your screen. That's where the battery storage projects are. And so they are phased, BEST 1, BEST 2, BEST 3. But they all fall within phase 2 of Escalante Solar project. Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
Okay, good. So we do have a letter, a governing letter that says that these participation agreements can't essentially double dip. That the solar agreement exists separately from the battery storage agreement. So we'll have you review, sign that as well. And that was just to really make sure that you guys knew that we weren't going to have two things participating at the same time.
Exactly.
So, clear as crystal or clear as mud?
Going with the mud.
Okay.
So there's existing plans and participation agreements for the solar projects. And now we're doing new participation agreements for each of the BEST, the battery energy storage system entities, 1, 2, and 3. And because it's all in the same project area for Escalante Solar 2, the issue is, look, we want to make sure that the tax increment, there's a participation agreement for the solar, and so if we have that, and there's new value that's brought in there because of the storage, and technically, there's an argument that the solar could double dip and get a tax increment for the new value that's brought in from the storage, because it's in the project area, and you have an existing agreement for that. And so the participation agreements are clear that this is only for storage, but this letter is being signed by the three solar entities saying, yes, we understand you're doing a separate participation agreement. We are not participating in those. The storage is separate. We don't get any tax increment, any tax benefit at all from the new participation agreements, and we're acknowledging that. And that was, you know, a comment that we talked to Jen and Jason about. They said, yeah, we just want to make sure that there's no question that there's not any double dip, and that's the reason for this letter.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Can Russ hear you?
Russ, I know you can see me, but can you hear me? I can't hear you. Give me just 1 second to work that out. Let's try that one more time, Russ. How are you?
Oh.
Awesome. Can you
You're
move
probably
your
gonna say
mic
my
down
phone.
towards your speaker? I'm not sure where your speaker
Maybe
is.
in the
Probably
back.
flush, Russ. Give me a one more time, Russ. Okay.
Looks like he's in Hawaii.
Very faint.
I was gonna say, you're a little bit quiet on our end, but we'll do our best. I will keep my eyes on you while I side-eye the commissioners. So if you need something to say, we can relay that information, just in case you're not quite loud enough. So, letter for the differentiation between BES and Escalante Solar. Now we can talk about the participation agreement for BES. And basically, as I stated before, when I came to you initially and said they're going to be asking for participation agreements with you, you said we really wouldn't entertain anything any longer in duration. We really wouldn't entertain anything, you know, outside of what already exists. And the way RDAs work, we can't really entertain much of that anyways. So these agreements are to sunset at the exact same time as the solar agreements sunset. They participate at the exact same amount, so it is as if they are getting all of the same thing, but for a shorter duration. Essentially, if they would have come on at the same time, they probably would have gotten the same thing because they're within the same footprint. However, since battery storage is going to be added at this point, we need to enter into the participation agreement at this point. Or we need to entertain entering into a participation agreement, I should say.
So I think one of our questions was, are we bound by the existing participation agreement to include these batteries in the participation agreement?
You are not bound to that.
Okay.
Right, yeah, these are separate agreements, so the commission, as the agency, will decide to participate, and they are separate, because they are separate entities, so there has to be separate agreements. They're all within the same project areas, which remains the same, but if they are separate entities, they are a separate agreement for each of the best phases, 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, but legally, we're not bound to follow what's happening on the solar side.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. Well,
Other questions?
So you'll have one of these agreements on each project too? Are you doing them all at the same time, or are you just doing number one?
Yes, ma'am, I wanted to be efficient and get all three done at the same time.
3 separate resolutions,
Three separate agreements? Okay.
And the statement letter that says the BES is separate from the solar.
Right, and we asked the commission to, you know, pass, or I don't know if it's pass a motion that says we will acknowledge and sign that acknowledgement letter.
is this the letter?
The letter is right here.
That is the letter.
Okay. Perfect.
And and the final one will come from Clearway on Clearway's letterhead, so we don't have the.
We'll just approve it, say
You'll
sign it
approve it
later.
and sign it later.
Okay.
So do you have the breakdown, the financial breakdown on that? Like what that,
What the added,
what the
budget would
increment-
look like.
Yeah.
I do not. Do you?
I have it on my computer, I've been trading emails with Jason on it, so he has the spreadsheet, that's a good question. Russ, do you have the anticipated CapEx, you could at least tell the commissioners, right, with you?
Hold on, I think you're on mute this time, Russ. There you go. Okay.
What did you say?
He said he is going to pull that document up and get that number for us.
Okay.
So can we talk about the details on this
Sure,
participation agreement?
anything you'd like.
I think it's on 2.1. It talks about what the county will give back.
Okay?
Yeah, that's why I want to see the dollar amount, I want to see the spreadsheet,
See what it,
see what that cancels out. Do you have any of that? Do you ever seen any of
I've
that?
never seen any of the budget, no. I've only seen them.
so some of you'll have to explain the 2.1 and then I think it's 2.3. That also talks about percentages.
What would you like to know?
Oh, sorry, go up just a little more.
Probably 2.2.
Right there, the participation tax increment share,
Mm-hmm.
and then the one that talked about the base rate. Right now it's at 0. So I guess we need to just understand what the dollars.
Oh, yeah, I can explain those, and then the tax dollars, we have to pull up the spreadsheet, but if you want to go down,
That's
so.
me where I want to see the numbers.
Yes.
Because we can talk figuratively and it makes zero sense to me.
Percentages.
I need to look at the breakdown.
Yes.
Going back through my emails, trying to see if I have one. I have a spreadsheet in there, I apologize, should have. Had stuff, but we can talk to the, we can talk to the participation agreements and the numbers, and then we'll get to the specific numbers. Russ, if you want to look for, it's an Excel spreadsheet, that we had been back and forth on, probably earlier this year. It gives the, participation numbers based on what we had been talking about and talking with Jen. If you have that, I can definitely bring it.
I'm working on trying to.
Okay. So let me go through and talk about the provisions in the agreement. So, we just took the solar agreements and just did exactly what the solar agreements did for these, and then made a few changes, obviously because the projects are a little bit different. So let's scroll down to the base taxable amount. The base tax amount is 0 here because the land is included in the solar project. So the land base amount is already addressed.
Already did that.
It would be double dipping if we addressed
Double
it.
dip, right.
So it's 0 because all of the equipment from the battery storage will be new. So it's 0 to whatever that number is. Then participants' tax increment share, it lists and shows the timing that it will, the last tax year is 2031, that's consistent and matches with the solar. And then it shows the 2% that will be retained by the agency as administrative fee. There's no housing requirement. The housing requirement that happened in statute passed much later than this. So the original agreements and the original project didn't have a housing component, so this matches the prior. So then it's the 68% is what is the amount that goes to the developer to incentivize the project. The 30% goes to all the taxing entities. So the county and other taxing entities, I believe it's just the school district and then the county. So all the value from the project will be considered new growth. It's a unique piece of the legislation for these CRAs that the county will capture all the new growth because It wouldn't otherwise, because this is personal property. It's largely personal property. The land is already handled in a separate project. So all personal property, if it's not in the CRA, it's not included in new growth. So it doesn't affect your budgets. The budgets stay what they are. Value will go up, but because it's included in the CRA, 100% of the new growth is included and is captured by the county to allow the budgets to move up and to account for that new growth from the personal property. Whereas, as I mentioned, if this were done outside of the CRA, you wouldn't get that new growth, and your budget would not change at all. So that's the concept and one of the reasons, and we work with UAC, with several counties and explaining why that's positive for the counties, and it does make sense, and work with UAC in several projects explaining that that's a really good deal for the counties to bring economic development and also bring new growth to the counties.
Are there any caveats that describe the rate change or stay what it was at the time of adoption? I don't think the other Escalon 1, 2, and 3 had that weird caveat in there where the space amount. Did Escalon 1, 2, and 3 have that?
Yes, but I have to figure out personal property on the 2015 levy tax rate, not the current year.
Does this agreement have any of that language in it?
On the timing of the base rate?
In other words, when she calculates the rate, she's calculating at 2015's rate. It never changes.
So we in all the other agreements that we've done in recent projects, we've always had the rate change. It should change.
It should change.
It should change.
But
the participation agreement that they've drawn at that time states it's a 2015 rate.
right.
I don't believe we listed in this agreement that
Okay,
it's
that's
only
good.
20.
We don't want it to. We want it to fluctuate. much as
It should flow with the current rate.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because personal property is the prior year rate.
Right,
because
exactly.
of the way that the
That's how it's designed.
certified rate is after
Yeah,
personal property.
yeah, it's how it's designed, right.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like what she's saying, it doesn't change.
That's
So-
the intent. There's nothing that we put in this to say that it should be a 2015 rate, and I don't recall anything saying.
I don't remember that either.
It's a set rate. And to the extent it does, that's not our intent. We're happy to amend this to make sure that that's
It flows. Yeah.
the correct way to do it. One other aspect that the original developer agreed to was to provide a $30,000 payment to the county as part of the CRA process, and Clearway has agreed to honor that and do the same thing with these projects and make that $30,000 payment. When I think it's like 30 days after construction, after they start constructing, they'll make that payment to the county. So that's one of the factors. Per this agreement, one-time $30,000 payment to offset costs and.
We're not like best one, best two, best three.
So you're not gonna get $90,000.
That's my.
No.
Is it 30 per? I thought.
30 per. So
Okay, so it is 90.
there's an agreement for each of the project entities, so it will be 30,000 per. Now, the difference is, it's the timing on when construction happens for each phase. So
Right.
phase one is the first to go, and that payment will be made after construction, because it has to do with the financing of the project, right?
So is it post-construction or during construction?
So once construction is commenced,
Okay.
within 30 days, because that's when they've got their financing, the project's gonna move forward, we know it's gonna happen, and so that's when we say, okay, we can make that payment. So for the other two phases, it'll be when commencement of construction, within 30 days of commencement of
Because
construction.
most of the agreements that I've been in personally is pre-construction. So that's what,
Okay, yeah.
not that it matters, just as long as the
Yeah,
check clears.
and the reason was, look, we wanna make sure these projects get a PPA, they move forward, they happen, and so that's the reason for that provision. So I think that's every, those are the highlights on the agreement that I was gonna address, or maybe we scroll down, Jen, to see if there's anything else.
Regarding the wasn't the CapEx question, 140.
Is this my call?
They are on 146 million CapEx is the number he's giving us.
And Russ, is that for all three phases, or is that for one?
That's for each 80 megawatt phase that we're able to just, build.
So 146 per,
80 megawatts.
per 80 megawatt phase 1, 2, and 3. So, and Russ, in the spreadsheet, do you show what the total, there's and I apologize if I brought up my spreadsheet and logged in, I could pull up, but there is a column that shows total tax over 20 years, that's collected from the project. Do you see that in the spreadsheet? It looks like he.
No. Russ, we have one more question for you.
Russ, can you see, if you found one of those the spreadsheet, hopefully it's the latest, do you see?
Let me check with my finance counterparty for that, before I give you an accurate number. But this is the total amount of property tax over the course of the 20-year operation of the facility we got.
Yes, so the 20-year total.
Let me confirm that. Let me confirm the exact thing.
And I know I sent this spreadsheet to Jason Birmingham, and I just need to find that string. I don't like the way that emails are like stacked in here.
It's hard to find it on the phone.
It is. If I could search two things. Let me.
Okay,
Let me grab my laptop.
$828. Say that one more time for me, Russ. Who's supposed to work on broadband in this county anyway?
That would be you.
Oh. Russ, are you there?
Yes.
Give me the total amount over the 20 years, one more time.
Over 20 years, nominally $9,828,000.
Okay.
With the abatement.
With the participation agreement?
Yes.
Thank you. Correct. I think it's 7 years.
So, it does.
2030.
It really depends when the projects come online, and they'll be staggered, 1, 2, and 3. Russ, do you have the anticipated dates when 1, 2, and 3 are expected to come online, at least for now?
We're still finalizing power purchase agreements, so we are in negotiations with Pacificor. We believe that the first project will COD by early or mid-2026, before June 2026. And then phase 2 and 3, before summer of 2027.
That's the dual authenticate.
No, it's gonna be my phone.
But, so he showed 928, I just wanna confirm that so that we're all. And we can potentially bring up the spreadsheet if we wanna bring it up too.
Yeah.
So this would lock in all three phases of bed and to complete in 2031, right? As far as
Yes,
the- Everything ends with, in alignment with what
Exactly.
Escalante.
Yes, two and three will have probably a year, or maybe two less than one because of
I
time.
like the shorter,
They need it shorter, otherwise you don't see any,
yeah, you don't see any of the growth,
Yeah.
the abatement needs that.
yeah.
And you're locked into that date, so even if you don't start construction till 28, it's still over at 31.
That's accurate, that's actually exactly right.
And the taxes paid to the county was $9,828,000 with the abatement, is that, like we give some of that back?
Let me confirm the exact numbers.
Okay.
No, he said that the 9,828,000 is with the abatement, so that would be
That's
after,
what's
with the
left.
abatement, yeah, after the abatement has been returned.
Gotcha, that's.
Correct.
I think with the abatement would be the whole total thing. Before the abatement is been returned. I don't know.
We'll pull
That's
that,
where-
we'll
that's
pull
where
that,
the spreadsheet
we'll
comes.
pull that spreadsheet.
So are you guys on a time frame that this has to be done now?
So the reason that it's helpful to have it done is then on the company side, they can go to the next level on financing, right? Because they need to get
Right.
the financing right, because that affects the pricing for the PPA that they're negotiating with Pacific. So the better,
The sooner the better.
the sooner the better, so that they know
Start the project.
this is our number, and then if we get a PPA in place, then we can move
I
forward.
mean, I personally cannot vote on this, this is up to you guys, so, it's up to you,
I'd really like to table it for another 2 weeks if we could.
just to get questions.
Yeah,
answered.
do a little more research.
But, did
No,
we,
this
did we
was
have
at the
to
time.
advertise for the RDA separately? As a,
I think it's all,
like a public notice or anything?
it just
It's
needs a
like
regular, it just needs a regular
Yeah, you just have to publish.
public notice.
Put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's like a meeting by the meeting.
Exactly, so there's no, for participation agreement, there's no public meeting requirement.
Okay.
If it were a plan or budget
Right.
hearing, it would be, the 30-day and a 14-day notice would be required.
So I think what Commissioner Arnold is saying is if we could get this information and the numbers, so we can mull over for a week, then we can vote on it. Is that okay?
Absolutely, we're at the commission's, discretion, absolutely. I would love to find it and tell you, because
I mean, just because of time, we're actually
Yeah,
out of time.
we're overtime, we're
Yeah.
on time crunch.
We have someone else waiting for it, so.
Okay, well, we appreciate all the time, and that sounds about right, with the numbers, but I'll confirm that with Jen.
But if you could get that either to Jan or to all of us, or, she can distribute it to us.
Yep,
and we can-
and then you'll see the breakdown, it'll show on the spreadsheet the total number, and then the number that goes to admin, the number that's retained by the taxing entities, and then the number that goes to the developer. It's right in the spreadsheet.
Yeah,
Okay, that's what we need to see, that kind of,
yeah.
makes it good.
I mean, we trust the lawyers, but only with our fingers crossed behind our back. Right, Mom?
That's, way to say it, I guess, Commissioner.
And it's headed to bond, too, so bond can see it as well.
Yeah, make sure.
With much love, right?
Okay,
So, I'll make a motion that we.
adjourn
Oh, we
RDA.
can- Well, I'm just saying.
Adjourning RDA.
Oh, you can adjourn that.
Yeah.
Well,
There's no vote, we're not.
no, can we not make a
We're not
motion to
voting here.
table anything in the RDA? You can't even make
It's only
that kind of
advisory.
motion?
It's only advisory.
Okay.
I think our board chairs just, declared it adjourned.
No, we're just adjourning as an RDA board.
Yeah, that's what I.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. All right.
Motion.
Now I make a motion that we'll take, or you go ahead.
So actually, I want you just to make a motion to adjourn as RDA advisory board first.
That you already made that one. You
No.
Okay.
You just said it was adjourned.
Well, no, I said
Okay.
we need a motion for that.
Well, I'll make a motion that we adjourn as an RDA and reconvene as
Commission.
commission.
Okay, perfect.
I will second that.
Poor Russ is stuck in the middle.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, now I'll entertain a motion that we table this.
I'll make the motion, we table the participation agreement for Clearway Energy. Yes. Clearway.
Do you want to table the resolutions as well?
Yes.
Okay. And then do you want to then go ahead and enter into your agreement with LURB to represent us? Or do you want to table that as well and do all three of them?
I think we can do that.
I think we do that one.
Okay, fantastic.
All right, so we're gonna table Clearway and table the
Resolutions,
resolutions.
10, 11, and 12.
And the next meeting, I would like LURB present.
Okay, fantastic.
I'll second that.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
You make a good motion.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, now we're gonna go into agreement with LURB,
Yes, your agreement with LURB.
okay? I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make a motion, we enter into an agreement with Burke.
Okay?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, now that's clear as mud.
We'll get there.
Listen,
Listen, we'll get there.
Ginger, you okay on that?
I think so.
Okay,
Whatever
just,
you
I do have one other item, just, was brought to our attention. This is an agreement with, professional plan services called Old Business that the county building department uses with West Coast Code Consultants. They're a third party, thank you guys, sorry for the time, appreciate it, thank you, appreciate it. Sure, we can do both. This is West Coast Consultants, he does a third party, I guess they do a third party like inspection for the county. It's not any cost to us.
Building inspection.
We just use, it's a 10-year contract, we use them, the cost is passed on to obviously the builders or whoever is doing their building, so this just was brought to our attention that this needs to be signed in today, so.
But it's a support system for
Yes.
our building
Correct.
department.
Yep. Any questions on that?
No,
Entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, make unanimous. One item, old business. Ron, would you, is this a?
I'll just keep it simple. Sure. Yeah, and commissioners, I sent you this email earlier, but I think it's okay making a public record. The lawsuit that was brought against the county by the Shows has now been dismissed. The county prevailed in that lawsuit. The judge dismissed their case against us. And so, I guess congratulations that, our decision was upheld as being lawful under Utah law. Now, that having been said, they do have the right to appeal within 30 days, but if they don't file notice of that appeal, then they lose the right to appeal. So at this point, we're just kind of waiting to see whether they're choosing to appeal the district court decision.
Okay.
And I'll keep you in the loop.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Good job.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion now to go into closed session.
I'll make that motion.